This was what comfort felt like. Quiet, steady, and full of familiar sounds. Laughter drifting in from the kitchen. Kenma sat curled into the corner of the couch, one leg folded under him, the other stretched toward the coffee table. His Switch mindlessly forgotten in his lap, screen glowing dimly with the idle home menu. He could hear the others talking in the kitchen. Casual banter, overlapping voices, warmth in the cadence of every word. "You always leave rice stuck to the pan," Akashi said flatly. "I'm preserving the seasoning," Kuru replied, smug. "That's not how it works. It is in my kitchen." Bakudo laughed, big and bright and contagious. "It's our kitchen, and you're just mad Keiji always wins the dishwashing war. We have a chart. I have an aversion to systems of oppression," Kuru said dramatically. Kenma sighed quietly, lips twitching. It was absurd, loud, domestic, and maybe a little ridiculous. But it was his. Dinner cleanup faded into the background as the four of them sank into the evening. Bakudo tossed himself onto the couch first, stretching across half of it and patting the spot next to him with theatrical enthusiasm. "Come on, Kenma. Movie night. I picked out a rom-com and everything." Kenma arched a brow. "You picked a rom-com? Well." Bakudo grinned sheepishly. "I told Akashi to pick one that wouldn't make me cry." "You'll still cry," Kuru said, flopping down beside him with 2 beers and a soda. "I might," Bakudo admitted, then leaned over to nuzzle against Kuru's shoulder. Kenma settled on the floor near Bakudo's legs, leaning against the edge of the couch, but Akashi tapped him on the shoulder and wordlessly offered a hand. Kenma took it, letting himself be pulled up into Akashi's lap as if it were a well-rehearsed routine. Which it was. Akashi's arms came around him automatically. His chin rested lightly on Kenma's shoulder. "You always sit on me when Bakudo picks a bad movie." "It's strategic positioning," Kenma replied. "I can fall asleep and you won't let me fall off." Akashi huffed a soft laugh, pressing his lips against Kenma's jaw for a second too long. "How thoughtful of me." Kuru leaned back and looked over them. "We really should start billing this as the Kenma Emotional Support Lap Program. Limited seats. Exclusive subscribers only. Is it too late to delete your contact?" Akashi chuckled at that, feeling content in their synergy. The movie was terrible, which was perfect. They all talked over it. Akashi picked apart the script. Bakudo defended the protagonist's bad choices with loud enthusiasm. Kuru made increasingly inappropriate commentary. Kenma didn't say much, just watched them from his vantage point tucked safely in Akashi's arms, letting their voices run like river water through the rocks of his nerves. Halfway through, Bakudo leaned over and reached for Kenma's hand. "You look happy," he said, squeezing his fingers. "I am," Kenma said, softly but honestly. "Yeah." Kenma turned his head slightly, letting his temple rest against Akashi's. "It's not noisy in my head tonight." There was a quiet beat. Kuru's voice, suddenly gentler. "That's good, Kenma. That's really good." Akashi shifted behind him, curling a little closer, his breath warm against Kenma's neck. "Stay like this tonight. I always do." They didn't finish the movie. At some point, the teasing turned into touches. Bakudo's hand brushed Kenma's knee, slow and deliberate. Kuru's arm stretched behind them, fingers sliding up the back of Akashi's shirt, coaxing goosebumps to rise. Akashi leaned forward, mouth brushing behind Kenma's ear, and murmured, "Okay." Kenma nodded. That was all it ever took. They moved to the bedroom, laughter quieted now. Into something tender. The lights stayed low, warm amber from the bedside lamps. No one rushed. There were hands, familiar and knowing, removing shirts, pressing into skin like it was sacred, something to be held gently and worshipped. There was no jealousy between them. No competition. Just giving. Giving and giving and giving, until Kenma felt like he was coming apart under the weight of it. Later, when they lay tangled in a mess of limbs and sheets, Bakuto laughed quietly. That might have been the best movie night ever. You say that every time, Kuru said, breathless and grinning. When has that ever been untrue? Kenma didn't say anything. He just pulled Akashi closer to him, and let himself breathe. He woke up sometime later, in the deep quiet of early morning. Akashi was curled into his side, breathing softly. Kuru's arm was slung over both of them, and Bakuto was half hugging Kenma's legs, one cheek pressed against Kenma's thigh. It was ridiculous. Clingy. Overheated. Perfect. Kenma stared at the ceiling for a long time, hand absently running through Bokuto's hair. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, hadn't even begun to guess what might already be coming. But tonight, in the hush of a shared bed and the comfort of warmth surrounding him, he believed in forever. Part 2 coming soon.